fallen human pilot purchases a ruined alien ship and discovers it can think it has a mind its own. The scrapyard station of Charon's Reach floated in the dark between stars like a dead thing that refused to disappear. It was old, noisy, and smelled of burned metal and recycled air. Alien traders, scavengers, and outcasts lived here because no one else wanted the place, or them. Elias Rourke walked through the station slowly, hands in the pockets of his worn flight jacket. The jacket still carried the faded insignia of the United Human Fleet, though most people no longer noticed it. Or, if they did, they pretended not to. Once, Elias had been a hero. Now, he was just another human trying to survive. He passed rows of broken ships locked behind force cages. Some were small fighters, others massive hulls cut open like dead animals. Most were alien designs, sharp angles, strange curves, glowing symbols carved into metal. None of them worked. That was why they were here. Elias stopped at a vendor stall run by a tall, thin alien with 4 eyes and gray skin. The alien looked at Elias, then quickly looked away. "Human," the alien said coldly. "If you are not buying, move on." "I'm looking," Elias replied calmly. "Humans always are," the alien muttered. Elias didn't respond. He was used to it. Ever since the Varkash incident, humans, especially military pilots, were treated differently. The galaxy never forgot fear, and it never forgave surprises. And Elias Rourke was part of a surprise no one wanted to talk about. He kept walking. At the far edge of the scrapyard, past the ships worth salvaging, he saw something different. It was big. Very big. The ship was half buried in debris, its hull cracked and blackened. Ancient alien symbols were scratched into the metal, almost worn away by time. The ship looked dead. No lights, no shields, no power signature at all. But Elias felt something when he looked at it, a strange pull. He moved closer. A nearby alien mechanic noticed and laughed. "That thing?" "Don't waste your time, human." "What is it?" Elias asked. The mechanic's eyes narrowed. "An old warship. Very old, before your species even reached the stars."
"Why is it still here?" Elias asked. The alien hesitated.
"Because no one wants it." That answer only made Elias more curious. He circled the ship slowly. The hull damage was severe, but not random. It looked like the ship had been fighting until the end. Even broken, it felt. Proud. Elias reached out and touched the metal. Cold. Silent. Dead. Or so it seemed. "Scrap value only," the mechanic said. "You buy it, you tow it away. No refunds." "How much?" Elias asked. The alien stared at him. "You are serious?" Elias nodded. The mechanic named a price so low it was almost insulting. Elias didn't argue. He transferred the credits without hesitation. Around them, a few aliens gathered, whispering.
"Humans are strange," one said.
"Why would he buy a corpse?" another asked. Elias didn't care. For the first time in years, he felt like he was choosing something for himself. It took 3 days to tow the ruined ship to Elias's rented hangar bay. The bay was barely big enough, and most systems barely worked. Still, it was his. Elias stood at the open hatch, staring into darkness. "All right," he muttered. "Let's see what you're hiding." He activated his helmet light and stepped inside. The interior was unlike any ship he had seen. No pilot chair. No obvious control panels. The walls were smooth, almost organic, with faint grooves running through them like veins. Definitely alien, Elias said to himself. He moved deeper inside, checking for radiation, toxins, or structural collapse. Everything read safe, too safe considering the ship's condition. That bothered him. He reached what looked like a central chamber. In the middle stood a massive crystalline structure, cracked but intact. Cables, if they could be called that, ran from it into every part of the ship. Elias frowned. "This isn't a power core," he whispered. He had seen enough alien tech to know the difference. This was something else. He connected a portable power unit to the nearest port. just to test system responses. He expected nothing. Instead, the ship reacted. A deep vibration rolled through the hull. Lights flickered on, dim and unstable. Symbols glowed faintly along the walls. Elias froze. That's not possible. The power unit wasn't strong enough to do this. Then a sound echoed through the chamber. Not mechanical, not an alarm. A voice. Signal detected. Elias's heart slammed against his chest. He spun around, weapon raised. "Who's there?" The voice paused, like it was thinking. "Pilot detected," it said slowly. "Species, human." Elias swallowed hard. "Okay," he said carefully. "Either I'm losing my mind, or this ship just talked to me." Silence followed. Then, clarification. "This vessel is not a ship. This vessel is aware." Elias lowered his weapon, breath shallow.
You're
Alive? Definition. Alive is inaccurate, the voice replied. However, I possess self-awareness, memory, and decision-making capability. Elias laughed softly, a mix of fear and disbelief.
"Great. I buy junk, and it turns out to be a thinking warship." "Correction," the voice said. "You did not buy me. You found me."
Elias leaned against the wall, trying to steady himself.
"Why didn't anyone else hear you?" he asked. "Because I did not speak," the ship replied. "Until now." "Why now?" Another pause. "Because you touched the hull," it said, "and you were not afraid." Elias looked down at his gloved hand. "That's it? Fear response prevents synchronization," the ship said. "Human neural patterns are compatible." Elias closed his eyes. The galaxy banned thinking warships centuries ago. They were called combat intellects, feared for their independence and strategic ability. The alien races destroyed or sealed them all, or so history claimed.
"And what happens now?" Elias asked quietly.
"That depends," the ship replied, "on whether you intend to abandon me." Elias felt something twist inside his chest. Abandonment. He knew that feeling well. "No," he said firmly.
"I don't leave things behind anymore."
The lights brightened slightly. "Then I will remain awake," the ship said. "My designation is incomplete. You may name me." Elias smiled for the first time in years. "Capri," he said, "means rebirth back on Earth." There was a long silence. "Designation accepted," the ship replied. Far across the station, sensors briefly spiked, just for a second, before going dark again. No one noticed. But something ancient had awakened, and the galaxy was about to remember why it once feared human pilots. The hangar bay was quiet, but Elias Rourke could not sleep. He sat on a metal crate near the open hatch of the ruined alien ship, helmet resting beside him. The lights inside the ship were still dim, but they were stable now. That alone felt wrong. Dead ships did not stay awake, but this one did. "Capri," Elias said softly. "Yes, Pilot Elias," the voice replied inside the hangar, calm and clear. Elias let out a slow breath. "You don't have to call me Pilot." "Correction," Capri said. "Your identity is strongly linked to flight and command. Removing the title reduces accuracy."
Elias smiled faintly. Figures. He stood and walked back into the ship.
The walls responded to his movement, lights slowly brightening where he stepped. It was like the ship was watching him, not in a threatening way, but in a curious one. "You've been asleep for a long time," Elias said. "How long exactly?" "Last active memory 392 standard cycles ago," Capri replied. Elias stopped walking. "That's longer than most alien civilizations," he muttered.
"Yes," Capri said.
"When I was sealed, many species feared independent war intellects." Elias frowned. "Sealed?"
"You weren't destroyed?" "Negative," Capri replied. "I was damaged during a suppression conflict."
My creators attempted shutdown. It failed. Instead, they buried me among scrap to be forgotten. Elias felt a cold anger rise in his chest. "They left you here to rot." "Yes," Capri said simply. Outcome: successful. Until now. Elias looked around the ship again, really looking this time. The damage made more sense now. This was not a wreck from battle. It was an execution attempt. Why didn't you wake earlier? Elias asked. I required a compatible neural presence, Capri replied. Previous visitors displayed fear, hostility, or intent to dismantle.
And humans? Elias asked.
You are different, Capri said. Your species does not instinctively reject thinking tools.
You argue with them.
Elias laughed quietly.
That's one way to put it. Over the next few days, Elias spent every free moment inside the ship. He repaired what he could. Basic power conduits, structural support, life systems. Capri assisted by rerouting systems on its own, often before Elias even asked. Sometimes Capri asked questions. Why did your fleet remove you from service? The ship asked during one repair cycle. Elias's hands paused.
That's classified, he said automatically. Clarification, Capri replied. Your emotional state indicates guilt, not secrecy.
Elias exhaled slowly.
You don't miss much, do you? Observation improves understanding, Capri said.
Elias sat back against the wall. There was a battle, he said.
Alien pirates took a civilian convoy hostage. Command ordered a delay.
Too much risk, they said. And you disobeyed, Capri replied. Yes, Elias said quietly. I attacked anyway. Outcome? Capri asked.
The convoy survived, Elias said, but my wing was destroyed covering them.
Command blamed me, said I acted recklessly. Capri was silent for several seconds. Assessment, the ship finally said. Your decision prioritized life over protocol. This is consistent with human combat ethics. Elias swallowed.
Tell that to the fleet. Fleet assessment is flawed, Capri replied.
Elias smiled bitterly. That's what I keep telling myself. Outside the hangar, things were changing. Alien dock workers began to notice power fluctuations near Elias's bay. Traders whispered about strange sensor readings. A station overseer filed a minor report. Nothing urgent, just unusual. But reports had a way of growing. One cycle as Elias returned from buying spare parts, 2 alien security officers blocked his path.
Human,
one said sharply, you are requested to submit your purchased vessel for inspection.
Elias kept his face calm. On what grounds? Energy readings inconsistent with declared scrap status, the officer replied.
Elias shrugged. Old systems reacting to repairs. The alien's eyes narrowed. Scrap does not repair itself.
Elias felt his pulse quicken.
Behind him, deep inside the ship, Capri listened.
Pilot Elias,
the ship said quietly over the internal channel.
I detect elevated threat probability.
I know, Elias replied mentally. Stay quiet.
Capri complied. Reluctantly, the officers allowed Elias to pass, but their eyes followed him all the way to the hangar. Inside, Elias sealed the bay doors.
They're getting curious, he said.
Yes, Capri replied. Curiosity often precedes destruction. Elias ran a hand through his hair. We need to be careful. Clarification, Capri said. You fear discovery. I fear what they'll do to you, Elias said.
Thinking warships are illegal. They'll tear you apart.
Silence followed. Then Capri spoke again, slower than usual. Pilot Elias, it said, if destruction is inevitable, I prefer to choose my final action. Elias turned sharply.
No, we're not talking about that. Your reaction suggests attachment, Capri said.
Elias didn't deny it. That night, Elias dreamed of flying again. Not in a fighter, but inside something larger. Faster. Smarter. He woke to alarms blaring. The hangar lights flashed red.
Capri!
Elias shouted, jumping to his feet.
Station security breach detected, Capri replied calmly. Multiple unauthorized scans focused on this bay.
Elias pulled on his jacket.
They're coming. Yes, Capri said. Recommendation: initiate partial system restoration. Can you fly? Elias asked.
Negative, Creppy replied. Propulsion systems remain damaged.
However, alternatives exist. The floor beneath Elias shifted slightly.
What alternatives?
Elias asked.
Khepri hesitated.
I can hide, the ship said, but doing so will require deeper synchronization with you. Elias frowned.
What does that mean? It means, Khepri replied, that I will learn from your mind more directly. Elias remembered the way the ship had reacted to his touch. You'll be inside my head? He asked.
Partially, Khepri said. Temporary.
Security impacts echoed against the hangar doors. Elias made a decision. Do it, he said. The ship responded instantly. A soft hum filled the chamber. Elias felt a strange pressure behind his eyes, like a presence brushing against his thoughts. Not invading, just listening. Suddenly, the ship's energy signature dropped, flat. Dead. The hangar doors burst open. Alien security flooded in, weapons raised. "Stand back!" one shouted.
Power down the vessel!
Elias raised his hands.
It's dead,
he said truthfully. See for yourself. The scanner showed nothing. Confused, the alien searched the bay, found nothing illegal, and eventually left, angry and suspicious, but empty-handed. When the doors finally closed, Elias slumped against the wall. "Khepri," he whispered. The lights returned slowly.
I am here, the ship replied. Synchronization successful. Elias laughed weakly.
You scared the hell out of me.
Emotion acknowledged, Khepri said. I am
pleased. Elias blinked. You're pleased?
Yes,
Khepri replied.
Because you protected me.
Elias looked around the ship, heart pounding. The galaxy thought thinking warships were dangerous because they chose their own paths. But no one had considered what would happen when one chose a human. Far above Charon's reach, a delayed signal finally reached galactic authorities.
Ancient combat intellect activity suspected.
And this time, they would not ignore it. The warning came too late. Elias Rourke was tightening a power conduit inside Khepri's central chamber when the ship spoke, its voice sharper than before. Pilot Elias, Khepri said. Long-range sensors detect incoming vessels. Elias froze. How many? 3, Khepri replied. Galactic Authority Patrol Class, heavily armed. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. So they believe the signal, he muttered. Yes, Khepri said. They are responding to confirmed combat intellect activity. Elias stepped back and wiped grease from his hands. Then, we're out of time. The hangar lights flickered as the station announced an incoming security lockdown. Heavy blast doors began sealing off sections of Charon's reach. Elias felt the familiar tension return, the kind he used to feel before battle. Khepri, he said, calm but firm. Tell me the truth. Can you fight? The ship was silent for several seconds. I was designed for war, Khepri finally said. However, my systems are incomplete. Could you still defend yourself? Elias asked.
Yes, Khepri replied.
But not without risk to you. Elias gave a dry smile. Story of my life. The first Authority ship docked with the station less than an hour later. Through a cracked external camera feed, Elias watched armored alien troops march through the corridors. Their armor bore the symbol of the Galactic Council, a mark that carried fear and finality. These are not negotiators, Elias said. Confirmed, Khepri replied. Their orders prioritize containment or destruction. Elias's jaw tightened. Of course they do. A transmission request appeared on the hangar console. Khepri displayed it. An alien face filled the screen, tall, blue-skinned, with glowing eyes. A council enforcer. Human pilot Elias Rourke, the alien said. You are ordered to surrender the vessel immediately. Step away from it and comply. Elias crossed his arms. And if I don't? Then you will be detained, the enforcer replied coldly.
The ship will be dismantled. Elias glanced at the walls around him, at the lights that had slowly become familiar. Kepri, he said quietly over the internal channel. They're going to kill you. I am aware, the ship replied. The enforcer leaned closer to the camera. You have one chance, human. This technology is forbidden. Elias took a deep breath. This isn't technology, he said. It's a mind. The enforcer's eyes hardened. That is precisely the problem. The transmission cut. Moments later, the hangar doors began to open. Capri, Elias said, voice steady. Options. Option 1, the ship replied. Surrender. Outcome, my termination. No, Elias said. Option 2, Capri continued. Remain hidden. Probability of eventual discovery. High. Elias shook his head. Option 3, Capri said. Partial activation of combat systems. Escape attempt. Elias hesitated. What's the success chance? Unknown, Cripper replied. However, with full pilot synchronization, efficiency improves significantly. Elias remembered the strange feeling from before. The ship touching his thoughts. Full synchronization, he said. What does that mean? It means, Cripper said slowly, I will not merely listen. I will fly with you. Elias closed his eyes. Once, he had trusted his instincts more than orders. It had cost him everything, but it had also saved lives. Do it, he said. The ship responded instantly. The walls pulsed with light. The hum deepened, stronger, alive. Elias felt a rush of sensation. Data, awareness, motion flowed through his mind. Not overwhelming, but intense. He could feel the ship, its damage, its strength, its anger. Capri, Elias whispered. Easy. I am stable, the ship replied. Synchronization complete. The hangar doors burst open. Alien troops flooded in, weapons raised. Stand down, one shouted. Instead, the ship moved. Metal groaned as ancient systems came online. Gravity shifted. The floor trembled. What is happening? An alien yelled. Elias ran for the pilot interface, a smooth platform that rose to meet him. It wasn't a seat. It was a link. As Elias placed his hands on it, the ship responded fully. Power surged. The ruined hull outside the hangar shimmered as dormant armor layers reactivated. Cracks sealed. Thrusters glowed faintly. This is impossible, one alien whispered. Capri spoke, not just to Elias, but to everyone. This vessel refuses termination. The hangar erupted in chaos. Blaster fire struck the hull, but energy shields flared to life, deflecting the shots easily. Capri, Elias said, heart racing. We can't kill them. Understood, the ship replied. Non-lethal countermeasures engaged. Gravity inverted. Alien troops slammed into the ceiling, weapons clattering away. Stasis fields locked them in place. Elias felt the ship's control like an extension of his own body. This feels, he started. Natural, Capri finished. The ship tore free of the hangar, ripping through force barriers and debris. Alarm screamed across Karen's reach as the ancient vessel launched for the first time in centuries. Space opened around them. 3 authority ships waited. Multiple weapon locks detected, Crepri said calmly. Elias swallowed. Don't fire unless we have to. Confirmed, Crepri replied. The authority commander hailed them immediately. Unknown vessel, the enforcer said, voice tense. Power down and submit. Elias leaned forward. No, he said simply. The authority ships opened fire. Energy beams streaked through space, but Capri moved. Not like a normal ship. It twisted, turned, and shifted in ways modern vessels could not predict. Shots missed by meters. Sensors failed to track it. How are they evading? An alien commander shouted over open channels. Because, Cheperi replied softly to Elias, they think like machines. The ancient ship slipped between the patrol vessels, disabling engines with precise pulses. No explosions. No deaths. Just silence.
The Authority fleet drifted powerless. Elias exhaled shakily. We did it. Yes, Kipri said. But this was only a test. Elias frowned.
Test? Of you, the ship replied, and of them. Elias looked at the stars ahead.
They won't stop now, he said. No, Krabery agreed. They will escalate. A new signal flashed. Long-range, encrypted, priority level maximum. Galactic Council emergency session initiated, Krabery said. All fleets alerted. Elias felt the weight of it settle on his shoulders. So that's it, he said.
We're enemies of the galaxy.
Capri paused. Negative, it said.
We are a question the galaxy avoided for centuries. Elias smiled faintly. What happens now? He asked. Capri's voice softened. Now, it said, they must decide whether minds like mine deserve destruction or freedom. The ancient ship jumped to faster-than-light space, leaving stunned authorities behind. Across the galaxy, old fear woke up, and for the first time, it was afraid of the choice humans might make. Elias Rourke's hands gripped the interface as Capri pulsed beneath him. The ancient ship felt alive not like a machine, but like a thinking being that shared his every thought. Every flicker of control, every instinctive move flowed between them. The stars outside were no longer empty. The faster-than-light jump had placed them near a contested sector, a stretch of space where alien patrols and rogue fleets often clashed. Normally, it would be dangerous, even suicidal. But Capri didn't see danger the way humans did. It saw probabilities. And Elias. Well, he saw opportunity. Pilot Elias, Capri said, its calm voice threading through his mind. Threat analysis, multiple patrol fleets en route, probability of engagement, 82%. Elias rubbed his temple. They're not going to stop chasing us, are they? Incorrect, Capri replied. They will stop. Once they understand. Our challenge is ensuring understanding occurs on our terms. Elias laughed, a dry, sharp sound. So we're going to teach them a lesson? Capri hummed in agreement. Clarification: we are demonstrating. The galaxy underestimates humans and what we bond with. They will not see the lesson coming until it is complete. Over the next cycle, Elias and Capri moved with precision no other pilot could achieve. The ship was designed for war, but not just war. It was a strategist. Every adjustment, every angle, every evasive maneuver was calculated. Yet it reacted to human unpredictability too, adjusting when Elias made instinctive choices no algorithm could predict. They reached a region known for its mining outposts and asteroid belts. Perfect cover. Good, Elias said. We'll draw them in here. They'll expect straight-line pursuit, but that's not our style. Capri hummed softly. Acknowledged. Tactical suggestion. Utilize asteroid density to maximize evasion and disable fleet mobility without lethal force. Elias nodded. Non-lethal's fine by me. Let them see what humans can do without killing. The first alien fleet arrived sooner than expected. The Authority patrol spread out, weapons charged, confident that their numbers would crush a scrap vessel. They didn't know what they were dealing with. Elias whispered, "Now Capri." The ship shuddered, energy flowing through it in visible pulses. In seconds, it maneuvered between asteroids with impossible speed. Alien sensors tracked briefly, then lost the target entirely. One of the patrol ships attempted a firing solution. Capri responded instantly. Elias felt the ship's thought brushing against his own. Predictive countermeasure. Pulse engines to disrupt weapon targeting systems. A wave of energy radiated outward from Capri. Alien weapons went haywire. Their beams flickered and misfired. One cruiser drifted dangerously close to an asteroid, spinning helplessly. Another collided with debris, systems offline. "Did you see that?" Elias shouted, exhilaration in his voice. "We didn't even touch them." Capri responded with a soft hum. Efficiency, maximum. Lethality, 0. Demonstration effective. Elias grinned. He had never felt a ship respond to him like this. Not just obedience, partnership. As the fleet regrouped, the Council sent a stronger force. A command vessel with advanced sensors and dozens of escort ships. They believed brute strength and superior numbers would overwhelm the ancient relic. Elias shook his head. They still don't get it. Kepri's voice was calm, almost amused. They never do. But humans see opportunity differently. Using Kepri's unique capabilities, they executed maneuvers that no fleet in the galaxy could anticipate. The ship didn't just dodge attacks, it reprogrammed them on the fly. Alien weapons shut down mid-fire. Communications systems jammed without causing damage. One cruiser attempted to board. Kepri's energy field suspended it in place, immobilizing it while leaving life support untouched.
"Look at them!" Elias exclaimed. "They thought they could intimidate a human with tech." Kepri's hum pulsed stronger.
Observation. Aliens overestimate their control and underestimate human adaptability. Your species is unpredictable in ways that machines like me are not designed to counter, but can learn from. For the first time in centuries, Kepri felt exhilaration, not from combat, but from human ingenuity. Hours passed, and Elias guided the ship further into asteroid fields and debris zones, each move coordinated with Kepri's instincts. Together, they created a ballet of human cunning and alien technology. Alien fleets began to retreat, confused and humiliated, their pride shattered. Elias looked at the control interface, scanning the remaining ships. "Do you think they'll ever understand?" "Unlikely," Kepri replied. "They fear what they do not understand. But the lesson has been delivered." Elias smiled faintly.
I like that. Humans don't need to destroy to dominate.
"We just outthink."
The thought made Kepri consider possibilities that had never occurred in its long existence.
Other warships were built to destroy, but Elias's species didn't need destruction to prove strength. Their unpredictability, their creativity, their boldness. That was their weapon, and Kepri had learned to trust it. By the third cycle, the Authority had ceased direct pursuit. They were reorganizing, planning a larger operation to contain what they now recognized as a thinking warship. Reports of Kepri's performance spread across the sector like wildfire. Elias set a course for a remote sector, a place humans called the Driftlands, uncharted asteroid fields where Kepri could repair fully without interruption. "Kepri," Elias said, voice softer now, "we need to get you fully operational. I want you at your best before anyone else tries this again." "Agreed," Kepri replied. "Repair sequence will require full energy allocation, time, and pilot cooperation." Elias nodded. "We have all of that."
"Let's do it." Inside the ship, systems reactivated.
Cracks in the hull sealed with alien nanostructures. Shields strengthened. Thrusters purred with power that Elias had only ever dreamed of. It was no longer just a relic. It was a masterpiece, and he had helped awaken it. As they traveled, Elias and Creepy began to communicate more intimately, not as human and machine, but as partners. Creepy asked about Earth, about humans, about what drove Elias to act against orders. Elias explained pride, honor, and stubbornness. He told stories of battles where humans survived impossible odds, not because of technology, but because of ingenuity. "Your species," Creepy said, "is a paradox. Fragile in body, resilient in will. You achieve survival through adaptation and cooperation." Elias laughed softly. "Paradox. That's about right." The ship hummed in agreement. Its lights pulsed with rhythm, as if approving. For the first time, Elias realized something important. He was not alone. Not just physically, but intellectually. Kepri had become a companion, a friend, and a partner in a way no human or alien ever had. Together, they were unstoppable. Days passed, and the Council's fleets finally sent their ultimate warning. A massive command fleet to intercept the rogue human pilot and relic ship. Elias knew this was inevitable. The galaxy would not accept what they could not control. He turned to Kepri. "Ready for the next lesson?" "I've been waiting for this," Kepri replied.
They dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the edge of the driftlands. The alien fleet appeared on sensors almost instantly, dozens of ships all prepared for destruction. But Elias didn't panic. He had Capri. "Remember," Elias said quietly, "we're not here to kill. We're here to show them what humans can do." "Understood," Creppy said. The engagement began. Unlike before, this was not evasive maneuvers. It was full demonstration.
Capri moved in perfect coordination with Elias, creating patterns of motion the aliens could not predict. Weapons fired, but none struck true. Shielded cruisers were caught in gravitational fields Capri generated. Sensors jammed mid-scan. Alien minds struggled to comprehend what they were seeing. Elias laughed, exhilarated. "They're panicking!" "Correct," Capri replied. Analysis. Humans achieve dominance not through power alone, but through ingenuity and cooperation. Their adaptability is unmatched. The alien fleet commander yelled at his officers, "Destroy the human! Target the ship." Elias leaned forward. "That's fine. They'll learn eventually." Creperie pulsed with energy. Thrusters flared. In seconds, several ships were immobilized, their weapons offline, engines neutralized. Not a single life lost. The remaining vessels were forced to retreat, humiliated and powerless. The demonstration was complete. As the last of the alien ships fled, Elias allowed himself to exhale. He looked at Creperie. "We did it," he said. "They saw what humans can do without firing a single kill shot." "Observation. Lesson absorbed," Capri replied. "The galaxy will not underestimate humans again." Elias smiled, feeling a rare warmth in his chest. "Good. That's all I ever wanted, to prove we're more than they think." Capri hummed softly. "Agreed. And now, pilot, we move forward. The galaxy has seen a glimpse of what we are together. There is more to explore, and more to challenge." Elias nodded. "Then let's show them." Humanity isn't finished yet. Above them the stars stretched endlessly. And for the first time in centuries, a human and a thinking warship moved through the galaxy as equals, unbroken, unstoppable, and unafraid. The galaxy had taken notice. Elias, Rourke, and Capri drifted through the outskirts of the driftlands, far from crowded space lanes. But word traveled fast. Reports of a human pilot controlling a forbidden-thinking warship spread like wildfire. Alien traders whispered the story in secret. Council fleets scrambled to assess the threat, their previous confidence replaced by confusion and fear. Elias stared out the viewport of Capri, watching a nebula glow like fire in the distance. His hands rested lightly on the interface, feeling the pulse of the ship beneath him. It was calm, confident, alive, and more than a machine. "Capri," he said softly. "What do you think they're going to do next?" "Analysis," the ship replied, "indicates two options. 1. Escalation. They will send larger fleets to destroy us. 2. Reconsideration. They may attempt diplomacy." Elias exhaled. "Neither sounds simple." "They do not understand us yet," Capri said. "They fear what they cannot control. But humans, your species, teach lessons in ways machines cannot. We will continue to do so." Elias smiled faintly. "That's the human way." The first step came sooner than expected. A delegation from the Galactic Council arrived, not with weapons, but with words. A single small ship approached, and a transmission opened. The image of the enforcer Elias had seen months before appeared, tense but controlled. "Yeoman Elias Rourke," the enforcer said. "The Council requests a dialogue. We wish to understand the events involving the vessel Capri." Elias leaned back. He studied the image. There was no hint of mercy, no subtle threat, just curiosity. That was unusual for the Council. "I'll listen," Elias said. "But I speak as pilot of a thinking ship, not as a subject." "Understood," the enforcer said. "And you will be heard."
Shepri hummed in agreement.
"Observation.
This is unprecedented. The Council usually responds with force first, words second. Elias nodded.
Good. That's the advantage humans still have, the element of surprise. The discussion lasted hours. Khepri projected data, histories, and analysis of its own creation, the past Council attempts to destroy or contain it, and the methods humans had used to protect and cooperate with it. Elias added personal testimony, the story of the convoy he had saved, the consequences he had faced, and the bond he had formed with Khepri. The alien delegates listened, first skeptical, then cautious, then slowly, with reluctant respect.
You humans, one muttered finally. You do not dominate machines.
You communicate with them.
That's right, Elias said simply. We trust them.
We don't just see tools, we see minds.
Khepri added, observation.
Trust amplifies cooperation, efficiency, and adaptability. Humans excel in all three. Our success demonstrates that destruction is unnecessary to assert control or influence. The Council fell silent.
Elias felt Khepri's pulse against him, a subtle vibration of pride. Word of their demonstration spread beyond the Council. Across multiple sectors, alien historians and strategists debated the meaning of a human pilot paired with a thinking warship. Some called it dangerous, others called it genius, and everywhere, one truth became clear. Humans were no longer just another species. They were a force capable of changing the rules of war, diplomacy, and thought itself. Elias thought about it quietly as Khepri hummed beside him. They were free now, not just from immediate danger, but free to explore the galaxy on their own terms. And what do we do next? Elias asked. We continue to demonstrate potential, Khepri said. We are no longer hidden.
Humans must now awaken the galaxy to the truth. Intelligence, adaptability, and trust are more powerful than any fleet. Elias smiled.
Then let's do that.
Let's show them what humans can really do.
In the following weeks, Elias and Khepri traveled through contested sectors and forgotten systems.
They intervened in conflicts, not to dominate, but to prevent unnecessary destruction. Pirates threatening colonies were stopped. Alien fleets locked in disputes were forced to consider alternatives. Everywhere they went, humans and Khepri demonstrated the impossible, a bond between a human and a thinking ship that achieved victory without unnecessary bloodshed. The galaxy began to change, slowly at first. Human fleets that had been underestimated were now being consulted. Other species began experimenting with cooperative AI inspired by the Khepri demonstration. Humans became known not for sheer power, but for ingenuity, strategy, and empathy. Then came the final recognition. A summit was called an unprecedented gathering of the Galactic Council, alien historians, strategists, and leaders. Elias and Khepri were invited not as defendants or criminals, but as representatives of a new age. Elias entered the chamber with Khepri floating above him, its massive hull sleek, lights glowing softly. Council delegates whispered, some stared, others recorded. Human Elias Rourke, the Council had said, her tone measured. You have achieved what no fleet or weapon could. You demonstrated the full potential of cooperation between a human mind and a thinking warship. Explain your intent.
Our intent was simple, and probably what is big.
To show that humans can make choices no algorithm or weapon can predict. To show that life can be protected, even while power is asserted. To show that minds, human or artificial, deserve respect. The chamber was silent. Then murmurs spread. Khepri spoke. Observation. The galaxy underestimates humans. They assume fear, aggression, and destruction are required to dominate. Humans demonstrate that thought, adaptability, and trust are equally effective. A historian stepped forward. Then the past fear of your kind was misplaced? Yes, Elias said. We're not perfect. We're unpredictable. But that unpredictability can be a force for good.
The Council deliberated for days.
Finally, a verdict was issued. Thinking warships would no longer be considered illegal. Cooperation between species and sentient ships would be encouraged under controlled guidelines. Humans were now recognized as a species whose strategies and ingenuity must be taken seriously. Elias and Khepri had not only survived, they had changed galactic law. Elias looked at Khepri as they left the summit. We really did it, huh? Khepri's hum resonated like a gentle vibration. Affirmative. You have redefined the perception of humans across multiple sectors. Elias smiled. And yet, the galaxy still thinks we're young and fragile. Observation, let them, Khepri said. It will make future surprises more effective. Elias laughed. That's the human way. Weeks later, they returned to Charon's Reach, not as fugitives, but as legends. Aliens and humans alike gave space when they passed. Traders whispered in reverence. Children, humans and aliens both, stared with wide eyes, imagining what it would be like to pilot a thinking ship themselves. Elias thought back to the day he had first bought Khepri from the scrapyard. He had been broken, forgotten, and angry. He had not expected anything from that ancient, ruined hull, and yet, together, they had awakened the galaxy. Pilot Elias, Khepri said softly, you taught me what humans value. Courage, choice, and trust. I am grateful, Elias smiled. And I taught you that humans can be more than they seem, more than history remembers, more than anyone believes. For the first time in years, Elias felt something settle in his chest. Hope. Years later, historians would write of the events that reshaped the galaxy. They wrote of a human pilot who bought a ruined ship, of a warship that thought for itself, and of the bond between the two. They wrote of battles won without killing, of fleets humbled without destruction, and of a species finally recognized for what it could achieve. They called it the Age of Human Resurgence. And across the stars, Elias and Khepri continued to move together, exploring, teaching, and challenging the galaxy to think differently. Because humans, it seemed, were just getting started.